Good afternoon, my creative friends. Coming to you from Quilt World in LaPorte City, Iowa. It is February 27th today, and I'm just going to catch you up a little bit on what I've been working on and do a little introduction. My name is Sherry, and I have been doing a Facebook group for several years and doing videos on that, and I'm kind of deciding to switch and put the videos out on YouTube instead. That way I can record them when I need to record them, and I can upload them when I need to upload them. And it just kind of works out better for timing. And maybe I'll do some live things on YouTube. I think you can do that without, it used to be you had to have so many subscribers before you do that, but I'm not so sure. They haven't done away with that. But anyway, so in the YouTube world, this would be called Flosstube #1, even though I've done quite a few videos. I don't know. I never counted. I should go back and look, I guess, and see how many videos I do have on Facebook, on my Facebook page, which is called Mamo Quilts and Crafts. And if you want to ask to join that, you're certainly welcome to do that. Anyway, I'm going to share what I've been stitching on, a little bit of quilting. I do some quilts too, and I may do some paper stuff from time to time. I'd like to get back into my paper room. I've got some things kind of started up there, and I need to get back to that as well. And I've got a nice pile of things here, so I'm going to get going and share with you what I've been doing. We recently took a vacation to Arizona, and that was a lovely vacation. Got to see several friends. We hadn't been to Arizona in 5.5 years, and we used to go every single year for I don't know how many years, a lot of years, and to visit our friends. And between the COVID thing that kind of discouraged us from flying, and then the health of my parents and their situation, we just hadn't been down there for, it's been over 5 years. So it was lovely to go back, and yeah, we just really enjoyed our time. And one of the things I got to do was visit the attic. And welcome to several of you who have subscribed because of that video I put up on the attic, showing that lovely needlework shop. And it's so crazy because I had been down there so many years, and I just had never, for some reason, I didn't pick up on that place, and had never been there or even heard of it. And I'm not quite sure how that happened, but anyway, and the owner, many of you already know, she just passed away. I think she died about a week to 10 days before we left for Arizona. So it had been very recent for the help down there. And and the shop was very busy. People were calling and giving their condolences. And so it was quite an experience. I'll start with what I got there. And there's just so much. It's a hard time to figure out what to get, to be real honest. I ended up going 2 different times because I went the first time and spent 2 hours. That's the day I took the video. And then I thought of a few more things that I decided I wanted to have. And so I called and made another appointment, and they let me visit a second time. And partly I went the second time to get this, which is, it's a clock, and it says springtime, and let's see, needlework press. And I need to go online and see how many more of these they had. I got the springtime one, and it's alarm clock, and the Christmas time one, because I knew I would love to do those and have them in the house. And the only reason I didn't buy it the first time is they had like an alarm clock you could get there to put your finishing in, but I wanted to have like one from a thrift store. And I had showed it to my husband Jeff, and he just said, well, where are you going to find one of them? And I said, well, I don't know, but I'm going to start looking for one. And one of the things I like to do in Arizona is go thrifting. There's a lot of, because of the population being older down there, I personally think the thrifting is, there's just a lot more stuff available because of that. And darned if I didn't come up with an alarm clock. He couldn't believe it. Oh, it was pretty funny. We were going down some aisles, and he saw them too, and he's going, I can't believe it, because I had a couple to choose from. And I ended up choosing this one. I do need to do a little cleaning up on it, but you can see I paid $3.49 for it. And so this is kind of one of the things I want to start pretty soon, because I want to do the spring one and put it in there. And I don't know that I'm going to paint it or anything. I think I'm going to just leave it like that, but I just thought that was a riot. And I'm going to see, they did have one that was called Sampler Time, and they had another Halloween one. I just typically don't do much. I do more fall, not so much Halloween. And so I just got the Christmas and the spring one, and I need to look this up and just see what other ones, they have that I could use, to switch out. So love that idea. So that was on the return trip to the attic. And I think I just hit my tripod, didn't I? Sorry about that. Okay, then I got this one by Brenda Gervais, mainly because I saw that she was coming. I didn't realize this was a series. And she's got a spring one and a patriotic one, I think, that, when is it? 1:30. I didn't pay attention what time I started. Anyway, I think the spring one and a patriotic one is coming out, and I loved both of them. And here she has, it's a series, and they're all the same size. So I love doing that kind of a thing where it's seasonal, but they're the same size, so I can swap out. I'll swap the frame out and save space, and it's kind of, I just like decorating like that. So I got Feels Like Fall, and then I did a pre-order for the other two. And the Christmas one I haven't gotten yet, but I'll keep an eye out for that. And then they had, this is not new, the Statehood, they did thread milk design. They did all the states. And so I just picked up the Iowa one, and just for our state. So I'll do that as a little small here for patriotic. Okay, then what else did I get? I might as well do this other bag. So this is what I got the first time down there. This is not new either, but I've looked at it different times and I just decided I needed to have it. I love patriotic, and that is just so cool. So I'll probably do that sooner as opposed to later. That's by October House. Faded Flag is what it's called. And I like doing smalls. And then I picked out a couple sampler kind of things. It's just absolutely overwhelming to try and pick something out. I wouldn't say I'm a collector of patterns. Usually if I get something, it's something I want to do and do it fairly soon. Not to say I don't have ones hanging out there that I, haven't worked on, but I tend to kind of stitch on only a couple things at a time and try and get them done. That's kind of how I operate. So I got, they had a Jeanette Douglas trunk show there. And so I got, here, I'll take this out, cover. It's called Anne Perrin, 1841. I don't know if that's how you say it. So this is the one I picked up. And it's very colorful. And I kind of like the colors. The couple pieces I've done lately have been kind of muted in browns, and I haven't done my fabric yet, and I'm trying my hand at silks. I have never used silks before. So here's the silks for it, and so I'm anxious to try my hand at that. I'm also not a very good linen person. I need to kind of try it again on something smaller. The last thing I did that was like that was kind of a struggle for me, and it wasn't fun. So I've done several pieces on Ada, some that I have colored. I like 18 and 20 count. I mean, I love the look of linen. I'm not going to lie. I love the look of that. But if it's not fun for me to do, it kind of, I don't know, it kind of kills my mojo. And, there's just nothing wrong with that. You kind of got to do what you can do and not apologize for it. So it's not what everybody's doing, but I have to be able to see it and enjoy it. So the next one I got is Plum Street Sampler. It's Proverbs 31 sampler, and who doesn't like a good Plum Street? I love her stuff. And her and Blackbird and Brenda Gervais, I would say, are, I like a lot of their stuff. So I just got the chart for this. And I'm not sure when I'm going to tear into that, but it's not a huge piece. So I don't know. Those great big things kind of intimidate me. I guess I want to do something that I feel like I can finish. And then kind of at the spur of the moment, I picked this piece up. And I love patriotic, and I just couldn't hardly stand this. So this is Lucy Moore, and isn't that just gorgeous? And here again, this was one they had made up. And so I don't know whether I'll end up doing silks on this or what. This, I think, has a little bit of some specialty stitches in it. I'll have to do a little reading of the directions before I dig into that, but it was a neat piece done on the walls, so I think I'd have fun doing that one. So that's what I bought. So I didn't get, a truck full of stuff, but, I had a tasting and I got a couple smalls and a couple bigger pieces and a sampler to try with silks. So I was excited. I'm excited to try that with the silks. Then let's see, what do we want to do next? Let's do some whips, only because I've got them kind of sitting here. I'd clean up this stuff. And of course, because we were gone, I got stitching time in the airport and stitching time in the plane. And, it had been a while since we'd flown, and we happened to fly Southwest. We could fly direct from Des Moines to Phoenix. But oh my goodness, are those seats tight. And I don't consider myself that big a person. I would say I'm, small to average, really. And I felt like I was like this. My shoulders actually got tight, and but I just sat there and stitched. So I, to kind of keep my mind off of the cramped quarters. And yeah, flying's not fun like that. I don't know. I think seems like they've made the seats smaller. I'm sure I'm wrong, but it just seems like so tight. So anyway, I finished did several things. One is, and I'm pretty sure this is a freebie, so you could look this up, Do Everything in Love. This is by Silver Creek Samplers, the chart, and I just printed it online. So you could look up her Silver Creek Samplers, and then just download the PDF. And so there's the piece. And I started that in the airport down in Des Moines, and I forget when I got it done. It was pretty early on our vacation. So I haven't decided for sure how I'm gonna finish that. So that's something I've gotta figure out. And I was stitching right around Valentine's Day, and I still had a few of these things I wanted to do, and so I just decided to take Valentine's Day stuff with me, and that's what I was going to work on. Then I did this. I started this one before I came home, Cupid's Sampler, and that's a Brenda Gervais. Not a new one. I'm not sure what year it came out in. But here's I just finished this last night. Only because she put a C up here for Cupid, and I put Jeff for J and S for Jeff and Sherry up there in the corner. Here, maybe easier to hold when it's held against something. And this is on, I used Holly Berry, Gentle Art Holly Berry. And if you use one of the hand dyed, make sure I had one strand and a part of a strand is all I had left. So if you made any kind of major mistake in here, you'd be in trouble. If you had to rip out very much. So I would suggest looking real carefully at that. You might want to get to thread. deals. And this is not the called for color. The called for is DMC, but I just thought, oh, when it's all one color like that, and if we used something that was a little hand dyed, I just thought it would really give a pretty shade color to it. So, and of course you could pick, you know, any red you wanted or towards the pink. Mine happens to be kind of towards the pink side. And I think I'm gonna make a pillow out of this. I'm pretty sure that's what I'm gonna end up doing. So, and this is, oh golly, I don't know if this is 20 count or 18 count. It was something I had, maybe rustic, I don't know if they have something called that. I'm not sure what that is. And then I had this one almost done before we left, and so I took it along just so I could get it finished. And this was my, I started this one on Christmas Day of 2024. So, and it's a blackbird called Merry Christmas. It's not real big. And I used all the colors except for, there's a purple in here. I did not use the purple. I substituted another blue for it. And this is on 20 count vintage country mocha. And so there's that one. And I'll frame this one. I'll frame this one. So I'll have to do some looking for a frame. I haven't mounted it yet. I need to get it pressed up really good, but it turned out so cute. And it's got some pretty colors in it. So that was kind of a nice finish. And then this one, I need to dig into my embellishments and to get this totally across the finish line. This is the flag bag by, let's see, what is this one by? Shepherd's Bush. And I've got all the cross stitching done on it. I didn't buy, there's an accessory kit, you know, with some stars and a bird and a heart, and I'm just gonna look in my embellishments and come up with stuff that will work on it. And then I will probably line this. I did one did one earlier, and that's what I did. I also unsew the one side, not the side that's got the tag and everything, the other one, just so it's easier to stitch. This isn't my happy spot, I will say that. It's kind of a pain, I think. And I kind of used, well, I used pearl cotton, but I used kind of what I had. So the colors are slightly different than what the called for is. And it's kind of on a pink/red, but I think it looks cute. But like I say, not my favorite thing to do, you know, to stick your hand in there. It does go fast, but I'll give it that. But anyway, I gotta dig through my embellishments and come up with extra stuff and get that finished. Then I've got a couple things that are not quite finished, but really close. This is Plum Street Heritage Sampler. And I got this finished before we left. I had this one done. I had I had it all done in 2024. That's why I put the year on last year. I started this in June of 2024 at a retreat, cross-stitch retreat I went to. I started it then, and I had it done at the end of the year except for the lettering here, and I changed the pattern. Here's the pattern. I didn't put the flag in, and I didn't put that verse at the bottom. Instead, I added the names of our family that served up here where the flag is, I put the names of our family that were involved in the Revolutionary War, and then down here I put the names of our family that were involved in the Civil War. And when I say that, I'm talking direct descendants. We had really quite a few people, family members, but it would have been like great uncles, cousins off. But we had quite a few direct descendants. And so the names, I've got names and dates down here. These are the Civil War soldiers. And then up here is Revolutionary War. And actually, Jeff's family has most of them. I have one name here and one name up there, and he has all the rest. So anyway, I decided to personalize it that way. So that kind of took me a minute to get that graft and then, stitch it in. And I did a fair amount of picking out and then readjusting and to get it all in. And then one of the dates I even put sideways up there because I ran out of room. But I thought, you know what? I've seen that on samplers. So we're going to do it, and it's going to be fine. And I love this piece. I can't tell you how much I love this piece. So we just got a frame from Goodwill yesterday. So the mister's got to cut it down, and then we can get it finished and put in a spot. And then okay, that's that. And then my blessing sampler for January was Token of Love by Brenda Gervais. And that was one I'd had for a little bit. And the fabric I did, this is fabric I coffee tea dyed. And it's probably a little on the darker side. I maybe should have brightened up some of the colors. In person, I think it looks okay, but it is muted for sure. And the background really has a kind of a grungy look to it. But this, I finished, did most of it. I didn't quite get it done in January, but I was really close. I had it done before we left on our trip, so I consider that a win. And it's it just needs its little sawtooth hanger, and then it's ready to go on the wall. And so pretty happy about this little finish. And I added our initials. Jeff's initials are on this side over here, and my initials are over here. And yeah, that's a pretty piece. And I have like blues and grays in my house, so it looks really nice. But anyway, it's a good finish. Glad to have it done. I felt like I didn't get much else done in January because I was kind of working big time on that. And then, like I say, we go thrifting down in Arizona. And I got this at a store, and it looks, or at a Goodwill. It looks very well made. I'm going to only be able to show part of it just because I don't have room. But I did think, oh, I just couldn't leave it there. It was not very expensive. It was only a couple dollars. And the colors are still very pretty. greens, and it's not a huge piece, but let me see, what I would call the focus fabric is pretty. It's kind of this yellow with those soft flowers on it. And like I say, it's well made. And so anyway, it'll be an easy one to throw on the frame sometime when I've got in between customer quilts, and maybe I can get it finished and somebody might enjoy that. So, and let's see, what else did I get for thrifting? A couple more things. One of the places we went down there was Wickenburg, and they had a Gold Rush Days, and it's a western town. They have a rodeo, cute town. We had been there before. I think we've been there twice before. They have a lovely, we didn't do that this time, art museum, Western art museum, and I would highly recommend that if you've never seen it. It's just got incredible artwork with a kind of a Western theme to it. Just beautiful things, beautiful. But they had tons of craft people there, jewelry makers, just art, and you name it, they had it. I don't know how many, a lot. Booth after booth after booth. And they had a car show the day we went, and Jeff enjoyed that. And so just, and then it was like, I think it was 69, 68 degrees that day. So it was beautiful. The weather really was beautiful the whole time we were there. So anyway, one of the things I saw when we were going in and out of different shops and stuff, I saw some books by Nancy Turner, and it got my attention because it says Sarah's Quilt on it, and it's not a new book, and I think this is actually the second one behind another one. But anyway, so when we're in a Goodwill down there, here I spot this book, because I thought at the time, I'm going to remember that, and I'm going to see if I can get myself a copy. Well, here I ran across it in Goodwill, so I just started it. It's kind of written in diary format, and you wonder, it's based on a great-grandmother of this lady, fictionalized, but it's based on her and how those people lived back then, with the water situation. And she's on a ranch, and their well is gone dry, and just some really, horrific things that, oh my goodness. So, but I just have started it, and enjoying that. But I thought, what a hoot to come up with that at the thrift store after I had just, seen it at a bookstore. And then I picked up this at a Goodwill, and it's some trim piping. And I thought, oh, that would look good on, like pin cushions and, whatever, finishes and stuff. And it was $2.49, so you can't beat that for I don't know how many yards. I mean, there's yards and yards and yards and yards here. So that's a win every day of the week in my book. I should take up, I've got a little piece of it here. I should take some upstairs and see if I could dye it with some of my inks. See if it would, oops, I'm sorry. See if I could take up, and color it or make it look hand dyed, or how it would take the dye. I don't know. It's kind of shiny. So if it's polyester, it probably would not do well. I don't know. If it's rayon, it would. I should just take up a little piece and try it. And I actually This was a little cross-stitch piece that my mother had. I just made this up the other day. It's not stuffed yet, but there you can see I used some of that cording. And I did kind of a mattress, I think they call this a mattress finish. I had this just gorgeous kind of chintz with a border on it. So I put the fabric on the bottom and I cut a chunk of the border to put around the outside. And I'm going to fill this with walnut shells. I haven't done that yet. I'll stuff it with walnut shells. And I don't know if I'll put a magnet in the top of it. I've got one of these really strong magnets. I may do that and make it, you know, not only something you can stick pins into, but it will, you know, like hold scissors or whatever. I may do that because I've got some of these really strong magnets right here on my book stand. So anyway, I did that the other morning. Trying to, you end up with all these little piles of things that need attention. Okay, I've got one more thing. Well, one more thing here that I ordered. I saw this at the attic, and it's not a cheap book. It's called Vintage French Needlework, and you can see it's huge. And I just decided not to get it down there, mainly because I didn't want to haul it home. And then I felt like I could get it probably, unfortunately, a lot cheaper on Amazon, which I could. It was almost $10 less. So if you're looking for this, you might want to check that out. And of course we have Prime, so it was free shipping. And I already used this to do the letters on the Cupid piece, where I changed, took out the C, and then I added Jeff and my initials instead. So I used one of the smaller alphabets in here. There's not very many small alphabets in here. They're mostly big, but oh my goodness, such beautiful things. And then motifs. I'll see if I can come up with a picture or two here. Here's like, well, here. It says Noel. Like a monogram, if you want to do any kind of monogram. One of the Flosstubes I was watching the other day, she had taken out a saying and put the word Thanksgiving in there, and she'd used an alphabet out of this book. And I just thought, you know what, that would be handy to have a bunch of choices. But some of these are just stunning. I mean, you could put them on any kind of a linen or something and give it as a gift, and it would make it, you know, super special. Trying to come up with, oh, here's another picture. Here. Isn't that beautiful? Just beautiful. So if you, it is mostly a book of alphabets, although here, oh, here, I thought this piece was lovely. There's a whole set of alphabets, and they're done in these ovals, and then this person put them together in a whole thing. Isn't that gorgeous? So you could do a sampler like that. I mean, if you did about a letter a day, you know, you'd have it done in a month or so. And then there's some little, there's even little pieces back here at the back that are gorgeous. You know, like complete little samplers. And then, like I say, there's motifs. I'm just trying to come up with these flowers. Where are they? Oh, back here. Well, I don't really want to show the graphs. Thought they had pictures. Maybe not. They've got some florals. Well, this isn't quite what I was looking for, but they're on that little envelope. You know, pillowcases, towels, dish towels, just handkerchief, you know, for a wedding. Be lovely. Absolutely lovely. So, anyway, if you're interested in that, you might want to check that out. Vintage French needlework, 300 authentic cross-stitch patterns, flowers, borders, alphabets from antique linens. So, you know, if you like that sort of thing, it's a beautiful book. And let's see, how many pages? Let me see if I can tell you how many pages. Don't even have numbers on all these pages. Oh, in there, 439, maybe they do. 439, 439 pages. So, you might want to check that out. So, okay, now that's all of my kind of show and tell kind of stuff. I have a little doll quilt, and you know what? I don't think I brought the pattern over here. Shoot. Let me grab the pattern. Be right back. Forgot. You think you have everything, and then you don't. You try and think through all this stuff. Just so you know, I'm not going to edit my videos. I don't have time for that. I do long arming for customers. Even though we're kind of retired, I'm still doing that. And I guess I didn't really tell you all that much about me. If this is a new thing, we have 4 daughters and 15 grandchildren. 2 of our families live local here. One of our families lives over in the Dubuque area, and then the other family, the 4th one, lives down in Chattanooga, Tennessee. My husband was a farmer, and then he worked as a nurse and worked in surgery as an RN, circulator, and he retired from that about 18 months ago. My mother passed away last May, and so my time was kind of taken up with her a little bit, and so we have just kind of, like I said, this is kind of the first big vacation we took in a while. We would go down and see our kiddo in Chattanooga, but I didn't like going too far. It made my mom kind of nervous when I wasn't close by, and so we just didn't do a lot of that. We'd do a day trip or something like that. So anyway, all of that. So that was, I guess, my introductory, and I got squirrel, which happens a lot, not gonna lie. I had cut this little dolly quilt out to take with me, hoping maybe, we stayed in an Airbnb. I didn't end up getting a sewing machine. I was going to borrow a sewing machine, but the way we were situated, it didn't really work, so I just didn't even think about it. I had enough cross-stitch stuff with me anyway. So this is a Doll Quilt Series 3, number 10. It's called Atlanta, and it was done by Prairie Designs, a division of Prairie Star Quilts in Elkhorn, which I don't think this store is in existence anymore. I really don't think. I got a whole stack of these kits. They're different ones. at an estate sale from a local lady that passed away. And so I didn't pay very much for them. And anyway, this one is called Atlanta. So this is the one I had all cut out ready to take with me. And after we got home, one night I was up in the middle of the night, not feeling the 100%. And so I just sat down and at my sewing machine and started putting pieces through. I have chronic migraine, and so sometimes it helps me to get my mind off of my head to do something very repetitive that doesn't take a lot of thinking. And so I thought this turned out really nice. Here, I should turn it this way, and then you should be able to see it. I got to peek out here just to see what you're seeing. And I love the fabric in the border. Look at that, how that waves. Don't you love that? Look at that striped border. I just think that's lovely. And you notice it right away in the picture too. See how it shows it in the picture. So anyway, I put it on my long arm and got it quilted. So we're gonna, I'm gonna just spend a few minutes here and visit with you. And I'm gonna put the binding on this. And if you're, not interested in quilting at all, that's fine. I think this is kind of how I'm going to run these. And so you can stay and watch whatever it is that you like to watch. I'm just, like I say, I'm just starting to move to YouTube. So if you enjoy listening to me prattle on about what's going on in Northeast Iowa, in Quilt World, subscribe and like, all the drills. And I've been so surprised at how many people I've heard from. And I'm going to move the camera down here so you're going to see what's going on here. Let me see if I can get it. There, I think like that will work. Yeah, I think that'll work. So, I started to say, I can't believe how many people I've heard from, like all over the world, England and New Zealand, that watched my attic video. I mean, it's amazing. It really, truly is amazing. And to be real honest, and I'm not lying, I thought of people like you. If you're from a long ways away and you are probably never going to visit the attic, or come to the U.S., this medium is really a cool thing to get to share in that and see things. We watch a man in France escape to the, oh golly, I probably shouldn't say the name. Escape to France, escape to, oh, I better not say. It's escape to something. And he's redoing a chateau. And he does have a couple friends that come and help him now. But at the beginning, he was really doing the work himself. And it's one of those things you'd never know about this unless he was doing a video of it. And of course he's doing it partially because he's getting an income off of it. He's got so many followers to help pay for what he's doing. So I don't have illusions of that. I just have gotten a decent response locally here to what I'm doing, what I've done on Facebook, on my limited Facebook page. And So I'm just gonna kind of continue to put stuff out when it works for me, and we'll see where it goes, and maybe it'll be of benefit to somebody. Right now I just cut for these little quilts. I looked it up. Joe Morton likes to do an 1 and an 1/8 inch of single fold binding. And as I recall, I did that. I didn't like, I thought it was a little tight for me. So I cut mine 1 1/4 inch. Now, normally on a big quilt, or, you know, a regular size quilt, not like a tiny one like this, I normally cut my binding at 2 inches, and I fold it in half, so it's a double fold binding. This is the only time I ever do a single fold binding, unless it would be like I'm running out of fabric, you know, and so I am like desperate to make every 1/4 inch, you know, work. You know, I don't have enough, or I hardly have enough. That'd be the only other time I would do a single. But most of the time I do it double. But for these little tiny ones, you know, they're not probably going to get abused like that. So anyway, all right, I've got my ends sewn together. I trimmed off. Guess I should show you what I've been doing. I laid them, you know, crossways like this, and then stitched across. So that's how I got that. I trimmed off the seam allowance. I didn't do a very good job at telling you while I'm doing it, did I? Get so busy talking, you can't. So right now, I like to do, I'll do it kind of in the middle, because this is a longer edge. And I don't think I need that anymore. So I'm going to push that out of the way. Okay, so let me set this up for 1/4 inch. Not that you really care. I am stitching with a Viking, I can't even remember what the name of it is. Designer Diamond Royale Viking. It was top of the line, I don't know how many years ago now. Had it a while. Nice machine. Been happy with it. Mainly because I have a dealer that lives about 20 minutes from me. So I'm just going to come up here to the corner and back tack about 1/4 inch away from that corner. I don't go off the edge. And then I'm going to lay this down and pull this up. So kind of want to miter that a little bit like that. And then I've got this kind of coming up straight like with this edge. And then I bring it down. Gonna hold that. I bring it down over the top. Kind of lining up everything. This is the fold is straight there. And then I'm going to put it in the machine again. This time I'm going to go right off the edge at the top, come down. I'll back tack just a little bit. This is one of those things I like to do, get it all ready to go. And then I can do the hand sewing while I watch TV in the evening. I always cross stitch or So tonight I'll probably switch to this just to get it done. I know there's some people that they hate binding. I mean, it's not my favorite thing to do, but when I'm this close to getting something done, why, man, we're going to power through. I don't want to have stuff piled up that all it needs is binding. When it's that close and I've put in that much work, man, let's get her done. So, same thing. Coming down the side here. I will put a sleeve on the back of this, which I'll have to figure that off after I'm off camera here. And I use vintage linens for that. I started doing that a couple years ago. Trying to think, who did I see do that first? Might have been Kelly Klein, but I'm not for sure it was her. It seems like it was someone else, but it's a really a great way to use some damaged stuff up, and it looks cool on the back. It's kind of one of those things, if I take a piece to my quilt guild, you know, for show and tell, they always notice if I've got a vintage linen on the back. They notice that right away. I just have so much. My family did a lot of needlework and quilts and over the years. And I've been fortunate enough to get most of them. So the archive is, it's big. But I also want to use it and enjoy it. Use it well while I have it. And not just store it. Okay, again, I'm pulling this straight up. I'll go through this again. I'm pulling it. I'm making a 90-degree angle here. And pulling it straight up, so this line. And then I'm kind of pinching that as I bring this down. And making that straight across up there. And I kind of pinch it so it can't go anywhere. And back tack off the edge. Okay, now here I'm coming down to where I've started. So, and of course I've got a seam there so close. That's great, but it'll be fine. I don't think you're going to notice it once I get. Okay, here, I'm not going to go very far here. Going to leave a decent sized opening here. And I'm going to do my favorite binding technique so that you have no lump and it's seamless. And yeah, so I'm going to put this down, and then I'm going to put this over the top. And what I need to do is, this binding is 1.25 inches wide. Okay, so Many people will tell you that you do an overlap of 1.25 inches. I've always found out if I've done that, I end up with a little bit of sloppiness. And I don't like that. It's like there's just a little bit too much. So what I have found is, okay, there's my 1.25 inches. I'm going to do 1 1/8 inches. So I've overlapped. Let's see here. We're going to bring this down because I need to do it right there. I don't know, did that make a difference? I forgot to turn my overhead light on here. That wasn't very smart. Okay, right there. So I'm marking it right there. That's the overlap, is 1.1 inches right there. And that's probably hard to see because the fabric, you know, is the same color. Let me slide something under there. There. Right there's my line. So right there, that's 1.25 inches. So the overlap is 1.25 inches. Okay. So that line is where I'm going to cut. And yeah, I just eyeballed it. If it was wider, sometimes you can mark it. If you feel better about it, mark it, you know. And then I need to bring this closer because I need to double check and make sure that I have this, I'm going to sew the right way here. And it's laying right. Unfortunately, I'm going to have two seams close together, but that's just the way it worked out. That's how short I was from getting it into 2 stirrups instead of 3. You know, that's how close I was. So that I can see right there, that's perfect. That is absolutely perfect. So I'm going to sew diagonally across there, right like that. And I have to change my needle position again to the center because I don't like having to okay. I'm gonna take one pin out here because it's kind of in the way. And I'm just stitching corner to corner. Not very far. Got a couple little strings back here in the back I need to clean up from my long arming. And then the binding, I've got a couple little strings or threads. Okay, so let's set this down here and look at it. Oh, it's perfect. See how that is? It's absolutely perfect. I can tell you right now, if I would have put that 1/8 of an inch in there, I would have had more binding than quilt. And then you get a tuck when you go to try and ease that in. So I'm going to get rid of that little extra. And I'm going to flatten this down, open that seam allowance up, and I'm not going to bother with the iron with it. I can do it with my finger. And then we're going to go back to I use a scant 1/4 inch seam allowance. Actually, one that I've programmed in my machine that I like better than the one that's you know, that's programmed in. I have adjusted it. And so there we go. We're going to go ahead and finish this little spot binding. There we go. And there it is. The first part of it is on. Okay. So what I'll do is, obviously, I'll bring it around to the back side, and I'll just fold that in and then bring it around. And I don't know, that 1/4 of an inch instead of the 1 1/8 that Joe Morton suggests, I just felt like it was so tight. I had to work really hard to get the binding on there. I didn't want to work that hard at it. So anyway, yeah, I'll need to trim a few threads here, I can see. But that's going to look really nice. Really nice. So anyway, that's all I have for you today. So I hope you enjoyed my beginning Flosstube on YouTube. And I hope you subscribe. I hope you give me a thumbs up and maybe tell me what you're working on, and share with me about your trip to the attic if you've been there, and thrifting and anything else that you want to talk about. I'll be glad to I read all the comments. So you guys have a great day, and I'll be back, and we'll update on what's going on in Quilt World again. Nice to see you, and goodbye for now.